Hello, guys. Welcome to the ARWP podcast, the all real wrestling podcast. I am your co host, Eric Novak, and today we have a special guest. We have the dashing, the ultimate finesser, Chris Bay.
Yo, that's me. Yeah. What's up? How's everyone doing?
All right, Chris, we got some awesome questions today from my other co host, Jason Smith, who isn't here with us right now because he's not feeling well, but he'll be with us in spirit. We're going to take you all the way back to the past and to the future.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's start with the first question of the day. You held 4 titles at one point. How did that feel?
Heavy. I don't know. It's so heavy. It's a lot to travel with, where you're already having to deal with carrying around a lot of baggage and just being in and out of one place and about it. It's a lot of baggage. It has, as far as like how it feels physically, but it's cool. You know, it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, it's a game that we play to be the best at and be our very best. So we strive for opportunities when we get to prove ourselves and prove our work ethic. And having a championship is a huge nod from any company that just shows that sign of respect that they believe in you. You know, so it's fun. It's very fun to have championships.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the first title you held?
Yeah, it was the FSW Tag Team Championships. It was I want to say October 7th, 2017.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And what show was that at?
It was at a Future Stars of Wrestling show.
Oh, okay, FSW.
It's my home promotion. So it was a little under my 1 year anniversary in pro wrestling. Me and one of my close friends, Black, we won the tag team championships together, and it was cool because not only was it my first championship, but the person who made those championships is a really close friend of mine, a guy named Scott. He goes by the name of Lucky Hands. He leathered belts and stuff on YouTube for a long time, but he was the one who made those belts. So for my first championship to be something that one of my own friends made it twice as special, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right. That's wow. When did you start training for wrestling? What style of wrestling do you train with now? And when did you start?
I started in August of 2016, and at Future Stars of Wrestling in Las Vegas. So this summer will be 4 years for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the second question you said?
And what style did you study with?
I don't really think there was a specific style to what I trained, because we do offer a lot of different coaches here in Las Vegas. So there's a lot of different techniques and styles that we learn under. And I never wanted to just learn one type of style. So for me, it was about being as well versed in lucha as I am, and technical, and so on and so forth. So I don't really think there was a specific style. We have coaches from WCW and WWF and WWE and Ring of Honor and Impact. So there was just a little bit of everything, though.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember who you trained with?
As far as my coaches, or?
Yeah, coaches, friends at the time of you starting out.
Well, at first I was training under Sam Brody and Kimmy King and Glenn Disco Inferno and Killer Cross and Whirlwind Bellman, who are tag team here on the West Coast, who are no longer working as a tag team, but I trained under those guys, and a guy named Cutthroat Cody.
Mm-hmm.
I had as far as the people who I was training with, there was my guy Nino Black was in there with me, and people like Damian Drake, who had already been around for a while, and it's a lot of people who aren't there currently, or aren't still wrestling currently.
We just had Damian a couple weeks ago on the podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had my first match against him, and I just got off the phone with him a couple of days ago too. I was checking in on, and we hadn't seen each other in a while. But yeah, that's cool that you had him on the podcast. He's a real good dude, really talented wrestler.
Yeah, FSW has amazing talent, and I'm trying to get as much as I can from FSW because, I've been watching all the mechas, and I've just been in love with the pay-per-views. I've been in love with like everything FSW's been showing more than the bigger company promotions. I'm really like into what FSW is doing with their pay-per-views and their roster. You know how like you got to face Daga. Like these are stuff that like I could see on Impact, but FSW is also showing it, which is like level pay-per-view matches. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. That's why FSW's my choice for a school, because I saw what they were doing from afar, and I just saw that they were kind of offering the best opportunity. Excuse me, they're offering the best opportunity. So it just seemed like the smartest idea when looking for a school, that you want to train, and you want to build a career off of.
So seeing how your popularity went from small shows to being, seen by big names such as Cody Rhodes, saying he has his eye on you, how does that make you feel?
It's real surreal, like you grow up watching these people, and we want to one day be in the ring with these people, be in the same conversation as these people, but when it actually happens, it's one of those things where we have to just like be grateful for the opportunity that we've had in front of us, and the situations we've been put in where we've been able to successfully shine and make a good name for ourselves. And for a situation like that one with Cody Rhodes, it was really amazing for me, and it made me very happy, but it just made me realize that there's so much work that I need to do, because I can't stop, and if I stop, then it's just, that was what I did then, and I have to keep going and keep making sure that this is only the beginning of people saying,
Yeah, I hear you. Wow. Yeah, because, it's really, when you get Cody Rhodes, someone like Cody Rhodes, to, toot you out of the blue, that's crazy, That definitely shows that, like, the independent scene is being watched very clearly by, big named faces and companies, and that's what's, crazy about it, because back then it used to be, you had connections with one company, and you get there. Now you actually have to work really hard for where you go next, you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
All right. So when you wrestle in the ring, you have a swagger that flows. How does that work? Like outside of the ring. Like I watch all your matches. I see how you interact with the fans. You are really, calm, cool, collected. How does that work outside of the ring? Like in the back, preparing for a match.
I don't know. It's just who I am. I don't really think it's I've never really taken into factor how it affects my daily life, or how people perceive it. I think I'm easy to be around because of that reason, but I never really have thought about what type of image that leaves behind, or what type of energy it creates. I just always try to have fun with anything that I'm doing, and be a positive influence or a positive energy in any room that I'm in, because no one wants to be around negativity. So for me, the energy that I carry in the ring, the energy I carry outside the ring, and the way that I'm just always me, I think, I don't know, man, it's like, it's just one of those things that I feel like got me to where I am today by just being me. And I think everybody should just be themselves, and I know it's weird, we all get timid and we all get nervous sometimes, but I think it's the best to always just be yourself, because if people can accept you for who you are, then those are the people ideally you want to be around in the first place,
Yeah, that's perfect thing to say. So, you talked about FSW. You talked about how that was the first place you went to, really, and that's what people mainly know your success from. The FSW, a lot of matches are up, and you had, a good amount of history in FSW. So tell us how that phone call was made, the first phone call of you being a part of the FSW family.
Well, I was living in Virginia at the time, and I was researching schools to train at, and I found, I found a number of schools on the East Coast where not close to where I was at, but still on the same side of the country as I was, where I was looking at and emailing and trying to talk to people. And I just come back from a birthday trip in Vegas, and I just really enjoyed Vegas. I liked it. And anywhere else where those schools were, I hadn't really been before. So for me, Vegas seemed like an easier idea because I just came from there. So I had seen it. I knew a couple of people there. So I called FSW. I just found the number online because I figured they had a school in Vegas, and I found FSW on Google, and I saw videos on YouTube, and I saw Killer Cross, and I called and I left a message because I didn't get an answer. And then later on that day, I was going to the gym, and I got to the gym, and as soon as I was leaving out of the locker room to start my workout, I got a call, and it was Joe DeFalco, who runs FSW, and he just kind of gave me the whole lowdown about what the school has to offer and the cost, and how many days of training they have, and who all trainers there. And he mentioned TJP, who had just became the cruiserweight champion at the time, and people like Kenny King, who I'd seen on Tough Enough and knew of his impact as X Division champion, and Ring of Honor and whatnot, and then Disco Inferno and Sin Brody and all that good stuff. So it just sounded like a really good idea, and I was telling him okay, well, I'll see you this summer. I'll probably move out there. And I know he gets that a lot, so knowing him now and having the relationship I have with him now, I know that, that's something he hears frequently, so it wasn't anything that he was to take into consideration. But a couple months later, I packed all my things and I moved to Vegas, and I started training, and I never looked back from there.
Wow, and that's the story. That's what you gotta do. You let all your chips go in at that time. You took it all and you went in. That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
It's kind of, I'm a firm believer in, if you're gonna do something and you want to do something, you have to put everything that's you into it, or else it won't work. Because if you half-ass anything, or if you put 75%, that 25% could be the difference of you changing your life and making your life exactly what you want it to. And maybe even just accomplishing something and figuring out that it's not what you want, and being able to continue to grow and keep trying stuff.
Yeah, see, that's what people need. That's a lesson, that's what a lot of people need at the time. Wrestlers who are coming into this business, that's the mentality that if you want something, you have to, give up a lot for that one thing to succeed. And that you're a proven, example of that with where you are now and where you're heading in the future.
Well, thank you. I'm just trying my best, man.
Of course.
Honestly, man. All it is. I literally just trying my best every day.
How did you get the nickname, the Ultimate Finisher?
The Ultimate Finisher is something that I'm very proud to say that I created for myself. Not to say that I created the phrase, because I'm sure people have combined those phrases before. But as far as, I've had a lot of monikers in pro wrestling. I know my first one was the Genetic Genius, and then I was Mr. Make It Happen, and the Proof, and then we did 2018. We named that after 2018 because it just rhymed. And then I remember someone asking me, I think it was Scorpio Sky or someone asking me when 2018 was ending, they're like, "Oh man, 2018 is almost over. What are you gonna do now?" And I was like, "I don't know. Get signed, get off the indies." That's the next plan is to I guess, to sign. So once I said that, I remember thinking, okay, 2019 is this year that I need to, get myself signed, and I need to get onto a major platform for wrestling, and take this to the next level. Because I'd already wrestled a lot of people who have been on television and are on television and were on television, and people who, whatever, people of all type of calibers. So for me, it was just like, kind of like, I needed to now hit that next level. And I remember there was a match I had probably in May or April of 2018 when I called myself the Ultimate Finesser. It was a YouTube video clip from a match, and I remember titled in the video "The Ultimate Finesser" because when I watched the clip, it was like me in a triple threat match, and it was real evasive, and it just was smooth. And for me, it was just like I've used the term finesse before, and I just felt like it was the ultimate level of finesse, and I just felt like whoever was in that video, it was me, of course, but I felt like when I was watching it back and uploading it, I felt like that was the ultimate finesser, like that guy in the video. And then I remember starting to say it more and more as the end of 2018 was coming in, and then 2019 started, and I just started trying to say it more and, making sure that announcers were saying it, so it started to stick. And then I think by May of 2018 or 2019, I made the shirt, and then once I made the shirt, it was inked in, and it just became something that became a whole way of life, and it started to define what I do in the ring and how I am as a performer, which was that one thing I felt like I was missing at the time, and it came about at the perfect time.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, you faced, big names. You faced people like, Shane Strickland, Killer Cross. You faced a lot of people. Is there anyone that you'd want a dream match with? Someone that you haven't faced yet and, like, you really want to? Like, you'll do anything just to get that match at one point?
It's crazy because there were two people on my list the last year who going into this year were still kind of like the focal two, and I feel like it's because not only are they two people I enjoy whenever I get the chance to watch, but the two people I feel like I could learn a lot from the experience. And it's Will Ospreay and Pac. And before it was them two, my whole dream growing up was like I was a huge Eddie Guerrero fan, and as Eddie died, and then the Benoit thing happened, and everything got real weird. And then I remember Edge retired, and Edge was one of my favorites. And then John Morrison that left WWE, and for me, this bubble outside WWE didn't exist when I was a kid, So I was just I remember thinking yeah, I'm never gonna get to face people who are my favorites, because by the time I start, maybe Randy will be gone, or maybe he'll be on his way out. Well, lo and behold, not only is Randy still here, and but Edge is back now too. So for me, it's like that was something that I'd already knew was no longer possible. That is a whole new realm that's opened up for opportunity, which is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could say any list of people, if you say I would do anything for that match, it would for sure be a match against Edge, But as far as negative, anything right now that I feel like it's still in reach, like that Will Ospreay match, that Pac match, that Cody Rhodes match, that and then I could name a million other people, like TJP. I know that's going to happen sooner or later.
Oh, I hope. That'd be awesome. I cannot wait to see that. Since you guys are on the same company.
Yeah, exactly. Rich Swann and myself one-on-one. Myself one-on-one with my business. There's a lot of one-on-one.
Has that not happened yet, you and Rich Swann?
Not one-on-one. We had a triple threat match with Trey Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in December or January, one of those 2 months, but it hasn't happened one-on-one yet.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's awesome. I really am looking forward just as much as you are for the future, because I know for a fact that you'll make it enough to get to Will Ospreay, to get to where, Pac is and everyone's at. Who inspired you? You talked about Eddie, but who inspired you with your gimmick wise? Who are people always comparing you to, or people are like, man, you got that look just like this guy had from previous eras? Since I know you were also a wrestling fan at one point, and I know you still are, is there anyone that you look at and you're like, I'm kind of copying this guy, not all the way, but in his style of move, in his style of wrestling, I kind of like his way of wrestling?
Well, it's weird because I've noticed as time has gone on, and this is like a reoccurring theme for me over the last 10 years maybe, is just that a lot of us think more similar than we know. And it's stuff that I used to think of when I was on YouTube back in 2011, 2012. That maybe the next week or a month later, I would see someone say something on Raw or SmackDown, and it'd be something similar to what I was talking about, or even when I got into wrestling and I thought I was creating certain spots, and then I would watch an indie match from around the same time that this was all happening, and I would see the same exact spot, and then I literally thought I created it the day before. So for me, like, one thing I never did was like watch someone and try to just replicate what I saw from them, because I can't be any of those people. Like me and Edge are two different heights and body weights. Eddie and I are two different heights and body weights. So I know legitimately when I started a lot of the moves that I grew up liking, because I never really got into this for the reason of the moves. But still being a fan, you like certain moves, and certain moves just stick with you. But when I got into this, I realized there was a lot of moves that were kind of out of my grasp to do, because I'm not of a certain stature or strength to do those moves. So I never really was able to just watch and copy people in the first place. I get compared a lot to like Kofi, and I get the similarities with the hair, but aside from that, he can fly in the ring. I also can fly in the ring. I think he's very innovative and creative in the ring. I try to be innovative and creative. I've been compared a lot lately to like Swerve, and that's, to me, is like, all those things are just compliments, because I think those people, I think Kofi and Swerve are amazing performers. So for me to be compared to them, I just take it as a compliment. And then like for people who are saying like I'm copying these people, I'm cheap knockoffs of these people, I understand the level of their IQ. People who say stuff like that, because I don't, and that's just like the reality of it, because I know how I look at people, and I never look at people and think that people are just copying someone unless they're copying them, and it's something that is a fact,
No, yeah, you're right, because, as wrestling is progressing, no one really, that question was kind of, I didn't really, like, it was there, but I didn't really, like, put it out as number one, because it's the point with wrestling growing, no one's really doing anything of the moves or trying to copy, the style of anyone. Everyone's trying to be their own unique version. And, again, it adds compliments to get, hey, you remind me of this guy, you remind me of this guy. But it's also, there should only be one Chris Bay. And I feel like that's the goal of every mentality of every wrestler.
100%. Like, when I do things, I never did it to copy someone. There's a reason why I went the route that I'm going right now. They say I look like Kofi, they say I look like Swerve, well, that's a perfect reason for me to not be in WWE right now, because if I remind you of two people who are in WWE right now, then I'll go somewhere else, and I'll be the one in that bunch who doesn't remind you of anybody. Like, I don't hear people as similar as I am to Swerve and as similar as I am to Kofi. I don't hear people saying how similar I am to Rich, with me and him being in the same company. Like, honestly, I just take it for what it is, and for me, I just always try to create my own stuff. Like, I'll go in the ring, and on my days of training, and I'll literally I'll dream of ideas for wrestling, and then I'll go to the ring, and I'll try these ideas. And some of them anatomically are not possible, because our bodies just don't go certain ways. But I saw it in a dream, and I still try it. Like, a lot of the stuff that I've done and created is literally stuff that I've seen in a dream, or seen in a vision, or put to work just by moving around with someone in the ring. And that's just kind of how it was created. I with the idea of the Ultimate Finesse, it was just about building my own character and building my own style. And I think that's why if you watch certain matches, you can see me do flips off the top rope, and if you watch other matches, you'll see me pull out submissions, and if you watch other matches, you'll see me sit out power bombs, and if you watch other matches, you'll see me doing 3 dives in a row, and if you watch other matches, you'll see me doing, like all types of different stuff. I literally try to never do the same stuff twice as far as my match flow and as far as my usage of moves and placements, because I try to make sure that whenever someone watches a match of mine, they don't go into the routine and like the John Cena 5 moves of doom, which is nothing wrong with having a routine. If your performance works, your performance works. If people are engaged, they're engaged. I'm a fan of John Cena. I have no issue with that type of formula. But for me, I like to have that where people can just sit on the edge of their seats. So when they thought I was going to do one thing because it looks similar to something I did in the past, there was a twist on it. And I just like for people to know that I can give you something different all the time, and I'm not cheating my fans and my viewers from seeing something new and paying to see something original and unique to their special moment of whenever they first saw me or whatever first show this is that they're out of mind or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm. Because I've noticed that about you because I know in FSW you hit the cutter a lot to get your wins. It was always that was one of your tactic moves. And then I was watching Impact against you and Damien. You're not. I don't want to say it's your debut match because you were already at Impact. You fought the likes of Daga and Jay Chris. But I know that you faced Damien, and I know you hit the Baymaster. And I know that wasn't the cutter, so I can see that you're definitely trying out different moves. My question is it gonna be always a different finisher, or are you gonna try to keep it on at least the same finisher?
As far as finishers go, I'll keep the finishers the same. The finishers have always, for me, depended on where I was at, and that was something that I had to adapt with early in wrestling as well, because common courtesy, we don't do other people's moves. How many people in WWDC get to do a cutter? You don't. And
yeah.
The reality of that is because no one does it better than the RKO. And it's just respect. So for me at FSW, when I first came along, ideally my finish would have been a Tiger Bomb until I started training and realized that I couldn't give everybody a Tiger Bomb. And then ideally ideally after that it was a cutter, but there was a guy that was using the cutter there, so that wasn't on the menu. So I remember picking up the Frog Splash, and the Frog Splash, as great as that move is, and as much as I love having that tribute to Eddie, I've also dislocated my elbow on that move. And I remember the guy who used to do the cutter had retired. So when he retired at FSW, I started doing the springboard cutter because then it was available. It was on the market. At Impact, we have, Jay Chris. So doing the cutter isn't really an option, And we have Louie Mack and we have RVD. So doing Frog Splash is really not an option. So for me, it was about just bringing something that no one's doing. And the Baymaster is a move that, people could correct me if I'm wrong, and if they've seen it or whatever. But when I did it the first time in training and when I brought it out, I was in the process of creating it. I thought I was creating it, and I think I created it. So for me, I know no matter where I go, I'm not going to see that move. And if I do, 9 times out of 10, they took it from me, at this point, which wouldn't be no issue for me, because it just is what it is. I understand the business. But as far as Impact goes, the Baymaster is a move, if you check the records that I've done in my match with Jay Chris, and I've done, and other matches there, and it hadn't always won. But I have also beaten people with that move. And that's another thing that I like to do, is just have moves that I can, you never know what I can beat you with. But I will say, stay tuned for sure, because you never know when I'll show you a new finish. Because I bet Without a Cause, where I hold the championship in Washington, my finish has been very certain over there for a while. But even the night I won the championship there, I had 2 matches. In the first match, I won with a different finish than I won the second match. And then almost 2 years ago from the date we're at now, I wrestled Austin Theory in LA and the move I beat him with was different than in the main event when I beat Killer Cross with a springboard frog splash. So I always try to switch it up just a little bit. But as far as TV sake goes with Impact, there will be continuity.
All right. Well, I mean, personally, I love the Baymaster. The way you hit it, I thought it's cool because with the Baymaster, you could do aerial tactics. And I think that's what's really awesome about that. But as far as that, yeah, I'm really excited for what you're going to do in Impact and what you're going to bring out to the table. Impact's it kind of went right into the hardball for you. You signed and you got to go, against Daga, and then you got to go in, I believe it was 8-man. It was an 8-man match to qualify for the X Division, and I know Willie won, but it's the hardballs they got to go through because now you got at Rebellion, you're gonna get Suicide, you're gonna get Trey, and I know there's one more. I forgot who.
Rohit.
Who?
Rohit.
Oh, Rohit, yeah, Rohit Raju, yeah. Again, he fought Hernandez. I forgot. Yeah. So you got, I mean, you're getting the straight big shot matches right now, and you deserve it. But it's the point where it's like, how does that feel that like you signed straight to Impact, and now all the hardest battles are happening literally right now. They're not giving you any minute to like have a singles match. You had Daga and you guys basically tore it up. You guys jumped like off the ramp. I was in the audience. I mean, seeing that you guys, even in your singles matches, it's always a battle. So how does it feel, from the future to now about Impact?
I feel aside from, COVID happening right now, I'm very confident in what we're doing as a product and the direction of my character. I am very happy with the decision that I made. If that can tell you any insight of how I feel about the whole scenario. I got to do a great debut match. I got to, get in there and mix it up with a little bit of everybody from all different sections of our roster, and everyone on our roster is super talented. So a lot of those guys I've been in the ring with for a lot of them I haven't. We're talking about an 8-man. I've been in the ring with Willie. I've been in the ring with Trey, and I've been in the ring with Jake. And then everyone else was brand new for me. It was my first time with AC. It was my first time with Jake something, or Cousin Jake. It was my first time with It was my first time with I think that counts about all of us. I could be wrong. I am my mistake, but it was my first time in there with a good number of the people. So for me, it's also always a constant learning curve and giving people something new, and not just people on television. Because sometimes people see stuff like me and Dada, they see that in Atlanta, and it's super cool. But like you said, we can see that at FSW. We've seen that at Impact before. So, I just like the fact that I'm getting in there to get people a sample of what I can do with everybody. And as far as where everything's going forward, we got the Rebellion show coming up. If you had asked me, 10, 13 years ago when I was playing TNA Impact and I was wrestling at Suicide, that now you see me at Rebellion facing Suicide and Rohit and Trey, I probably would have laughed at you, honestly. But even though it was always in plans to, make it to a high level. But I'm excited about what we have going forward. This match is going to be a game breaker and a game changer. And I know it's going to be a banger. And it's going to be very entertaining. And people are just going to see quality television right now, which everyone needs that sense of relief and entertainment. And that's exactly what we're about to offer. And where the Ultimate Finesse is going next. The world may never know, but you also just got to stay tuned in order to get the answers week by week.
Mm-hmm. So, here it's a question that I've always I wanted to ask since Rebellion got canceled for the audience. I was supposed to be a Rebellion. Was that a last minute change match? Like, did you know that you were gonna do this when you were taping in Atlanta? Did you know that like you'd have a match at Rebellion against these guys, or was this like a thing that Impact told you? They called you like, hey, we gotta since there's no audience, we gotta give them one hell of a pay-per-view. You're gonna be in a match against these guys. How was the phone call towards that? Because this is your first pay-per-view of Impact now.
Yes, this is my first pay-per-view with Impact. And I think, honestly, the best way to answer that question is just that it was always in the plans. Where we're at currently and what's airing was always in the plans. It seems new to everyone, but for us, it was always where everything was leading to.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when I first learned about the pay-per-view, was in Atlanta, and I was very excited to answer that question.
All right. Because I remember I was talking to you about it, and you did tell me you were going to be at Rebellion, you were going to be in the area. So I just wanted to know if there was a match switch, like if you already had a match and it got changed due to the fact that they wanted to make the pay-per-view a lot more accessible to the fans by adding Suicide, because it's like you look at Impact and they really didn't use Suicide for a long time, and now he's back in the pay-per-view. So it's like they're really trying hard. Impact is very trying hard to the concerns of what's going on right now, the fact that the fans can't watch, but at least at home we get to see memorable pay-per-view, memorable matches. All right. So here's one that every wrestler's got their own style. So from yours spinning heel kicks to double stomps on the offense side of wrestling, I've noticed a lot of catch wrestling and fast movement. Do you like more ground-based attacks, or is it always keep it moving at every moment?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I said, you have all these moves like spinning heel kicks and double stomps. The offense, you use more of a catch-based wrestling. So my question is, if you had to decide on a different, kind of style, like if you're in a match against someone that's either bigger or someone that's smaller, do you have a different moves of wrestling? Is it like stay on them on ground, or is it gotta keep moving, gotta always have the higher up hand?
I think I just use my assets and then the concept of finesse. So for me, it's always about who I'm in the ring with. There's always a different story to be told. Like I said, you never really see the same thing twice. So, and I've been in the ring with big people, small people, people of all sizes. So for me, nothing is new at this point, So I literally just know what my advantages are. My advantages are simple. They're under the category of finesse. I just know how to move around and how to be evasive and how to stay out of the way and all that good stuff. But I just literally, that's my advantage. So when I look at a match, whether they're big or small, that's the skill set I'm always going to use. But the person, depending on what the person's strong suits are, or how my game plan will then add more formula into the strength department or into the stay on them department or into stay out of the way department or whatever those need to be. But I think the standard formula is always just the finesse, and then it's built around that. Whether I'm in the ring with someone like Killer Cross, and I'm in the ring with Killer Cross, is he just ready to freaking kill, or is he in a different type of mode where he wants to, play with his prey? I gotta assess everything.
All right. No, yeah, well, yeah, people like Killer Cross. You definitely have to have a mentality. So it's good to know that at one point you just figure it out at the time of what's going on. So if you haven't realized it yet, multiple people know your name. Multiple people don't even have to Google you to be like, oh, I heard of Chris Bay, phenomenal wrestler. That's you made it. When people figured that out. So purposely, for you specifically, when did you realize that you made it in the business, like in the wrestling business in general? Was it, from winning your first championship? Was it from wrestling with big names, or was it just the fans in general?
I don't think that moment has still set with me, because I feel like once I feel like that, I'll stop working hard. So, like I said, with Cody Rhodes mentioning me, crazy. Now being under Impact and wrestling people that I used to play in video games is crazy. Fighting for championships that I used to look at replicas and own replicas and fighting for, championships that people who I idolize have held. And being in that organization and being around so many people I'm around, like, I don't think all of it, is a lot, but I don't ever really constitute any of it as I made it, because the moment I feel like I start feeling like that, I'll stop working hard, because I still have so many goals. So to me, I haven't made it till those goals have been accomplished. Every year I set X amount of goals for the year, and typically I'll smash all of those goals, if not missing one, or add a couple more along the way and doing those. But they go by the year, so I don't think until I feel like I'm done with wrestling, I'll feel like I made it. And that just goes with everything, like WWE was my lifelong dream growing up, and then I never really looked at it as I made it yet, even though I'm in all these scenarios where I can, I guess, classify that I made it. Like, it never dawns on me that I've made it, because if I do, I'll stop working hard. Like, for me, the idea is just all these goals I have, and every year I set X amount of goals that I either accomplish or I add more on to and accomplish that, or I don't. I miss a couple, but the work rate has to keep going up, and I have to feel like when I retire, I can feel like I made it. But for now, it's all just in the moment, because once again, it could all be done. Like you said, Cody mentioned me and talked about me. Well, he's not talking about me anymore. I don't know if he can't. But what if it was not because I signed elsewhere, but what if it was because I just flopped and I wasn't as good as I was hyped up to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I can't really think about these moments as making it. My lifelong dream was to wrestle for WWE, and then I did that here in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. And it was a great feeling, because it let me know, literally the best feeling about it was not just because everybody said that I would never do it as a kid, but the best feeling was that it let me know that clearly I was doing something right by choosing this career path and by being where I'm at right now in wrestling, because a lot of times I would second guess myself and ask myself why I'm not signed yet, or why this, or why that. And then that moment happened, and there was just positive reassurance that clearly I'm doing something right. So it wasn't a moment where I took it and said, "Oh man, I made it." It was a moment where I took it and was able to say, "Okay, we're going in the right direction," and keep going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about your match with Arya Davari on 205?
Yes.
Yeah, I was watching that match and I heard everyone chant Bay. Like, everyone was chanting your name during that match. Did you hear that?
I did, and it's crazy because usually I cannot hear what's going on that well while I'm in the ring, but I heard that, and it was very special for me, and a very sentimental moment. And I think it was the one time in my career that I had no nerves whatsoever, because I had envisioned that moment my entire life since I was 3. I had idolized that company and thought about wrestling for that company, and every night was still dreaming about it, and every night talked about it, and every day talked about it. I saw the logo every single day of my life for the last 24 years, and for it to be real, and be standing there and looking around the arena and seeing the Titantron and seeing the pads around me that say WWE, and having an official right next to me with the WWE logo. And it was just all so real, and it just literally felt like the most comfortable thing in the world. It felt like I had lived that moment a million times, because I have in my mind.
How was the locker room feeling? Like, did you go back, like, when you ended your match or before your match, in that atmosphere of, people around you?
It was cool, because we all the extra talent changed together, and we're separated from the WWE locker room, of course. So it was nice, because when I got back to the extra talent area, where a lot of my peers on the independents and other people that I met from indie wrestling that day were there, as well as extra talent. They all gave me a standing arrow, and just to have the respect of your peers means more than anything else, because this is a tough world and it's a tough business, and a lot of times people are jealous, and a lot of times people, will sneak you and won't shake your hand and won't want to talk to you and want to hold you down. But for me to have that type of response from my peers, just let me know the type of example I'm setting, the type of person I am, because I remember there was a kid in my school, growing up, middle school and high school, a kid named Christian Rivera, who was like the nicest guy ever, and everybody knew him as the nicest guy ever. Whenever he would win awards or anything, like, everyone was happy for him. Like, everyone. I just remember always looking and being happy for him too, and just thinking, man, like, what does it feel like for everybody to like you, for everybody to be happy for you? Like, so for me to have that type of response in my business lets me know that clearly I've left a good impression on people, if people are willing to treat me this way as a collective, because because I know Christian was always a great guy, and I always loved Christian, and that's the type of reaction he got. So maybe I must be a good guy, and people must love me, if that's the reaction I got. So just to have that from my peers, like, meant the world to me.
All right. Yeah. That's, I met you at, the pay-per-view, not pay-per-view, I went you at the Impact show in Atlanta, and you were nothing but kind. So, yeah, I can definitely tell that there are a lot of people who probably got the same first impression as I got from you. The fact that, you're just a kind of humble guy. What would you say would be the strangest place you've ever wrestled?
I've done, like, weed festivals. I've done shows inside of churches, which, are real, because you just can't, like, curse. So, like, when things hurt, it just is like that last instinct to just not curse and say frick, and, you don't want to say hell, and, like, damn, all that stuff. Like, there's, like, simple stuff, but, like, you got to look out for the scenarios like that. I've done, like, I know we did that one. We did so at the church. It's at the weed festival. I've done, like, some lucha shows. They weren't really weird, but I wasn't portraying myself. I may or may not have, depending on who you talk to.
The Butcher in the Mask?
May or may not have wrestled in a Venom costume. Depending on who you talk to.
Oh, okay, then I have. So I'm a very big wrestling fan, and I will ask this, when everything is off. But I think I think I know what match you're talking about. If you're saying what I think if you're saying what I think you're saying. So what's the largest crowd you've ever wrestled in?
You said the largest?
Yeah.
I probably said it was that WWE crowd, easily. Second to that would probably be when I was doing the PCW stuff in LA. But yeah, for sure, I think the WWE events were, or the WWE event was just the largest by easy scale. It's WWE, so when they come to town, it's just a different vibe.
Got it. All right. Now, I've seen you in all these companies, as mentioned before, when deciding between all these different brands and talent. I'm sure you had many places to choose. Why Impact Wrestling?
Because it just made the most sense to me with my track record right now where I've been. Impact has had me in there for the last year and a half before signing, in and out of there, making appearances here and there, and it just seems like a lot of opening opportunity into this business. Like, for me, I competed for the X Division Championship against Jay Chris, so I didn't beat him. I didn't become X Division champion. So the last thing I want is to go to WWE or go to AEW right now without being X Division champion, because I've competed for that championship. So I need to win that championship. I am very goal oriented in that direction, and Impact, I like what they're doing. Once again, they have one of the best rosters, and they still have that availability to the indies that I'm looking for right now, because I want to wrestle as much as possible right now. I don't want to go and be, knock anybody, who's at that, selection at their life right now, or before the COVID, during the COVID, however this works. But I didn't want to go sit in performance center right now, and get a million reps, and I've done that. I not to say that I'm past it, but that's not what I'm looking to do right now in my life. Right now, I've done the training. I still do the training, and now I'm wrestling all over the indies against the best wrestlers in the world. I want to keep wrestling right now. I want to maximize my wrestling right now. I can wrestle less when I'm older. I'm still young right now, so I want to use that to wrestle the best right now. Like you said, 2018, I wrestled Sugar Cross, John Morrison, Shane Strickland, Scorpio Sky, Kenny King, ACH, Brody King, and Teddy Hart. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Austin Aries for the Impact World Championship. Like, the list literally is a list that I cannot even try to remember fully. But it was so many names. And that was all on the indies. So for me, this just provides me that opportunity to be on a television platform, facing the best and accomplishing my goals as a kid when I was on YouTube 10 years ago, posing with the Impact World Championship to make that a reality. And for me, it's to get people to watch Impact again, because people, love to talk about all the old bad times that they went through and how the company's dead and this, that, and the third. Well, now people have to tune in to see what I'm doing, and by virtue, they'll see what else we're doing as a company, because I love what we're doing, and I love everybody on the roster. I think everybody's doing the best job possible to produce the best quality that they can, and if people watched it, they would understand that, and the people who do watch it, they do understand that, and that's why you guys appreciate it. That's why you guys show us a lot of love. I appreciate that in return. So for me, that's why I'm at Impact, because I can still be the best in the indies. I can still wrestle on the indies against the best, and I can be on Impact at the same time on TV against the best. I just think it's the best of all worlds right now, to maximize instead of minimize,
Mm-hmm. So you talked about, Jay Chris, you talked about the X Division Championship. Those are all goals. So my next question is basically dream match, dream opponent, what title you want to go for. So this is basically a list of different goals. So first question is, what is a dream match you want in Impact? I mean, that, like you said, Swan, TJ, why? What would be the reason for it? Like have you ever faced those guys before? Like you told me you faced, Rich Swann and Triple Threat, but give me more insight on the reason to facing guys that you haven't faced on Impact.
I think a match against, for me, people like Chris Sale and P.D. Williams would be really cool, because these are guys that I used to watch in that company, and they helped me realize how possible it was for someone my stature to do what we do. So for me to bring that full circle would be another one of those things that I can cross off of my personal goal list. Like a lot of people look at this and try to tell you what they want you to do and what they want to see you do, but at the end of the day, it's not what you want to do. And that would be something that I want to do, for sure. Those two matches right there. I said people like TJ, and I knew people like TJ. That's a real feeling I have about him. I feel like he's one of the best in the world, and it's as simple as that. Do you need any more than those three, or?
Not really. It's just, when it comes to what's happening with Impact, there's so much goals to set. Like you said, you want to get back to that X Division title, since that's, your one of your matches was against Jay Chris for it. So I just want to know, what's, in the order. If you had to give, an order, a list in order of goals that you would set yourself.
I think I would put it right in easy order. We have pay-per-view match.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bound for Glory. We have Slammiversary. We have the X Division Championship, and we have the World Championship. That, for me, are the goals right there. in my order. I needed an appearance on Down for Glory. I needed an appearance on Slammiversary so I can cross off the big two. And then I need the X Division Championship, and I need the World Championship so I can cross off the championships. I'm very, you can tell by my track record and my closet and the tattoo on my chest. I love championships, so for me, those are number one, and those are the ultimate stamp. Like I said, that a company believes in and backs you. So those are the things I need. I'm very simple. I don't want much, but those are the things I need.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of your tattoo, there's one of a whole wrestling ring with the crowd. How did that one come to be? What's the story of that tattoo?
I always wanted a ring tattooed on me. I just didn't know the physics or the dimension or the exact location. I knew I wanted my chest done, and there came a point where I was ready to start designing my chest piece. And I found the artist, and I met up with the artist, and I remember his name's Eric Doyle in Washington, D.C. He has a tattoo shop called Globe Electric. If anyone's in D.C. who wants to check that out. But him and his wife have this shop, and I love his work, and I try to get every piece of my body done by a different artist. And we sat down, and I showed him my belt collection at the time, like the pictures I took of him. I was just showing him references and things in my life that I enjoy. And once we saw the belts, he started talking about the idea of maybe putting, because I was, talking about whether it was going to be the belt or whether it was going to be like the intricate designs that are on the belt. And he was talking about possibly putting a belt. And then I talked about how I had an idea about getting a ring, but I didn't know where. And then he talked about wanting to see a picture of a wrestling ring. So I remember I showed him a picture of a couple of rings from a couple different perspectives, and he made out a sketch of how he could make it work. And I really liked the vibe me and him had, the chemistry we had. And off the little sketch, I just knew it was going to be something like I hadn't seen before, and that's what you want when you're getting your body art. Unless you're someone who wants something specifically that you're copying of something else in order to emulate it or in order to, pay homage or whatever that is. But this was just something that I had never seen before, and I knew it was exactly what I was looking for, something that I hadn't seen before, and that when people see it, they would know it was me. And I started working on it in December of 2015, and we did one of the last sessions on it in June of 2016, and I needed to move. I had to move in July of 2016 to Vegas to train, so I kind of put the tattoos on hold and moved out here, and I haven't been able to finish it yet, but that's the whole story of that tattoo. Shout out Eric Doyle, and once I get some time, I'm going to go there.
Is there anything we could see in the future, maybe, that you've been thinking about lately? Like a tattoo? Like a design?
You said tattoo. Is there anything that I've been thinking about adding?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I have my whole right arm sketched out, or not sketched out, but the ideas laid out. I have my whole right hand sketched out. I have my back piece laid out. Some of the ideas to fill in on my chest is literally just a matter of money and time away. Ever since COVID started, this is the most time I've had out the ring since my career began, since I started training. I got injured in summer of 2017, and I lost about 5 weeks of in-ring time that I would be on the sidelines watching and still learning, going to class and stuff. But aside from that 5 weeks there, this is the longest I've had away outside of wrestling. So tattoos for me, not only were they financially not in the budget because tattoo artists charge $200, $300 an hour sometimes, I needed the time away from wrestling. I can't get a full sleeve and then wrestle 3 shows a weekend on the indies with sweaty. It's not how I like. I took my tattoo, my post tattoo care very seriously. So and I even have like YouTube videos dedicated to that. So it's not something that I want to spend the money on and have to be in the ring sweating, possibly damaging, and have to spend more money to fix. I'm more
Mm-hmm.
about saving.
All right. Well, yeah, that's a really, big reason why a lot of wrestlers don't, jump and get tattoos. Like for example, like TJ in an interview said that even like way before WWE, he wanted to get tattoos, but like due to the fact that he was always traveling and always in the ring, it is very dangerous. So yeah, I mean, I understand what you mean by like the whole, you can't always get these tattoos because yeah, you can't always sit in the sidelines. So here's another kind of almost related to this question. It's about gear. I like gear. I like wrestling gear. I think it's really cool. Like when all wrestlers have different kind of gear. Your gear was at one point trunks and now it's tights. Well, I mean I don't know if you
Yeah,
call it tights. Bottoms. It's the one that you wore on Impact, the all red.
yeah, they're called tights.
Yeah, they're tights. All
You
right.
always think,
No, because some people have a problem with it. I never see a difference. I'm a wrestling fan. I don't really care. Tights, bottoms, whatever looks cool.
where a lot of people are like transferring into like the TJ style, where like they're kind of like joggers more than they are tights, and so a lot of people probably like have that to distinguish with mine are tights, bro. I mean,
All
I'm
right,
not about
nah,
to say
man. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Because it's sick and it looks badass. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's a big change from like your old FSW gear, like the old gear, not the late FSW. I'm talking about like the original FSW gear. What was this sudden change?
Well, if we actually look at my original FSW gear, which is no footage of these days, but my first 3 months I was in tights. I actually started in tights. I was a huge fan of tights. All my favorites wore tights. Edge wore tights. Eddie wore tights. Benoit, Jericho. Like, yeah, everybody was in tights. So for me, like John Morrison, Johnny Nitro at the time, only people who weren't were Edge and Orton. So or not Edge and Orton, but Orton.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I was always a tights guy. But when I started wrestling and my body, my character, was the genetic genius or whatever, and it was kind of built off my physique. Two people, Killer Cross and Swade Thompson, both told me that I should wear trunks because it would look better. It would it would make me look more like a wrestler. It would complement my physique, and then also trunks because it's less material are a little bit cheaper than tights, so it would save me some money in the long run. So it was something I did as an investment in, to take advice from my trainers, and I don't regret the decision I made, but it came a point where I was at this juncture in my life where I was signing the contract and I was about to switch it up, and I wanted to make sure that that every year I switch it up. So like 2017 was like the genetic genius stuff, and then the second half of the year was the 50 Shades of Bay, and then 2018 was the whole 2018, and then 2019 was the blonde hair. I dyed my hair the first day of the year, so it was like the blonde hair,
Mm-hmm.
and like to get signed, and then like by the end of the year, I like put on 20 pounds of muscle, so like the look was different. But 2020, I just wanted to make sure when the year hit, because I was going to keep the blonde hair. I grew out a beard, but the beard and then the tights, like I wanted to switch the look up. I try to switch it up every year, whether it's just hair or gimmick name or gear. And for me, it was just time to go back to tights. I was tired of shaving my legs. I was tired of people pulling my ass out and giving me wedgies in matches, and I was just ready to be comfortable again.
Mm-hmm. And the gear that I saw at Atlanta Impact, the red one, that was sick. The fact that it was all red and then just that one black knee pad. Here's a question I've had for a long time. That knee pad, it has a specific symbol on it. I don't know if that's a letter or a symbol. And I know Willie Mack has it, and I know a lot of other wrestlers have that knee pad. What does that knee pad represent or mean?
It is the Dark Light symbol, which is a company that we are all sponsored by, and it's really for me like Dark Light is a family. We have a lot of people on our team. Kira Hogan, Demonte, Lily, like you said, Priscilla Kelly. Like there's so many people in the cove, and Dark Light for me was just literally a family. Like we put people on the team, and it's literally just that much of acceptance from everybody. Everybody's a part of the team. As you see, we all look different. We all are different people. We all are unique individuals. We all act different. You would never think any of us are connected, but we're all connected to this family of Darklight. It's literally, for me, it's just us as individuals being who we are and spreading that message. That's how I feel about it. That's literally the way I look at Darklight.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I never knew. I thought, obviously I knew it was, some kind of, I knew it was, a wrestling thing. I knew it had to relate to something in the wrestling because it was specific wrestlers. Like, it was like really, it wasn't every wrestler. It was just, there were specific wrestlers who have it. And it's like, I want to know if it's, a past, group, like it was something part of the past, or it's, something that like, like you said, you guys are all a part of. So it's really cool. It's really cool that I got to hear that. That's one of the things I've been wanting to know for a long time. So let's go back to Impact. We have a few more Impact related questions. What could we see you going for next? Because you had your match with Daga. That's the last thing we saw in Impact. Are you gonna is that gonna be a rivalry? Like what's the story with you and Daga? Because obviously Daga wasn't happy after the match, and there's definitely some kind of, I don't know, tension.
I think if Daga wants some more, I'd be happy to teach him more lessons in the art of finesse. I don't have an issue with Daga per se, and if he has an issue with the way that I beat him, I'll understand. But he will have to wait, because right now I'm on a different quest. He asks what's next. What's next is Rebellion. We have three of the best from the X Division, and a true legend of the X Division was Suicide. And, the golden boy right now of the X Division, and everybody was just so happy for him to beat Ace Austin, and he didn't do it. That was Trey. And then we got Rohit, who, feels like he's got something to prove, and does he hit squad, all that. I don't care. We're all X Division, and none of us has the championship, so I want the championship. Ace Austin has the championship. So if Ace Austin has the championship, I'm going to put Ace Austin on notice after Rebellion, when I beat those three other people.
Mm-hmm.
Best of the X Division that the X Division has to offer, that I am declaring myself next in line. I don't think there will be any debate on who's next in line after I beat those three people. So if you ask me what's next, I'm just trying to get close to that X Division championship so I can win my 12th championship, my first one in Impact Wrestling, and I can turn the X Division into the Finesse Division.
I like that, Finesse Division. Wow, it's pretty funny. It's pretty, yeah. That's what we like to see. That's what everyone wants to see. Speaking of X Division, how do I say this? Impact has always been a very interesting kind of place when it comes to matches, like an Ultimate X match and all that. How are you preparing yourself for something similar to that?
I don't think I do prepare myself for that. I think I take that in. I think I embrace that for what it is. It's just something that is unique, and I have a history as a kid of being one of those people who like to climb around jungle gyms and jump off the top of playgrounds. And I'm undefeated in ladder matches, and I like to dive, and I like to finesse. So for a match like that, I think what I'm prepared to do in a scenario like that is something that's never been done before, because I'm going to look at it and I'm going to think finesse when everybody else has looked at it and thought whatever they thought, in their game plan. I think when I approach it, I'll approach it with finesse, and whatever people will be able to take away from it is that the lessons of finesse. I think that, for me, is my bottom line with everybody who experiences a match of mine.
Mm-hmm. So, going back to your career, we have seen you win Tag Team Gold, and the question is, in Impact, is there anyone specifically that you tag with to get the tag team gold at one point.
You said, is there anyone in Impact that I would tag with to get tag team gold?
Yeah.
Sure. I think if we're winning gold, I'm all about it, but I'm not in this for tag teams. I was going to tweet that out earlier because someone had, tagged me in something. The writer was talking about, I would love to see Chris Bay and this person be a tag team or asking someone to come to Impact and be a tag team with me. And as much as that's cool that people have these ideas of what people want to see, I'm not here for friends. You hear it on commentary with Josh Matthews. I haven't made a lot of friends in the locker room, apparently, because people see that I'm here for championships. People see that I'm here for the spotlight, and they don't like that. I understand why they don't like that because they work so hard and their spots on the line. But I'm here to have the top spot, and there's only one at the top. Right now, that's Tessa Blair, and if she's in the top spot, then that's the spot I'm trying to have.
And you faced Tessa. I mean, the most recent thing I remember was the match where you were with the Rascals. It was a 8-man match. I know it was Tessa, Daga. I know it was it was Impact versus Impact, basically. The Impact stars versus other Impact stars. How was that match?
Is this the bar wrestling match you're talking about?
Yeah, the one where you were with the Rascals. You were with. It was an 8-man. I forgot who was in that. It was Tessa, Daga. I don't know who the other two.
That match ended up getting a little changed. It ended up being me, Dez, and Zach versus Daga, Willie, and Tessa.
How did it feel like to step foot in the ring with Tessa? I mean, that's the thing that I remember the latest. The day you faced Tessa, you probably had a singles with her, at one point, but I just can't remember that. But like in general, because she is the champ, have you faced her before? Have you guys, like you said, in the locker room, you haven't made many friends. Have you bumped into her in the locker room, saw her go? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if anybody has heard any of the interviews I've done over the last couple of years, they'll hear about how over the last couple of years I've always said that Tessa Blanchard was one of the best wrestlers in the world, and that I wanted to wrestle her. So this has been something I've been talking about for 2 years. So that was the first time I've been touched in the ring. And then I had a one-on-one match last month in March. It was like March 15th or 14th in Vegas. It was for the world title. And clearly she beat me. So it would have went wild right now because it would have been a new world champion. But that was my first time touching with her, and I love that match. I think that match was very fun. We opened the show, and I always love to open the show, especially at bar wrestling. I feel like that's like the coveted spot I have there, and that the crowd are always very receptive and open to me to start the show and to set the trend of what the shows are going to be, and to do it out there with the Rascals, who I was their debut match for Impact, and then to do it out there against Whitney, who I've had an interesting history with on the independents, and against Daga and Tessa, this power couple of pro wrestling. It was sweet, man. It was sweet. I was in there with all pros, everybody from my own roster, and it was giving people a taste of what I offered to the television show and how I fit right in with our team,
Yeah, but that's what's awesome about the independent scene. Like you just signed with Impact recently, but you faced half of its roster already. Like you knew the people already in the locker room, and it's like it wasn't just like 3 or 4. You knew a lot of people already in the locker room because you've already faced outside of the ring. That's what's so special about our generation of wrestling. The fact that it's not you don't have to be in major company to get known so fast and be in a company that has so much free talent. That's pretty much we're done with the questions. You want to give the fans that are listening your social media so they can follow you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Dash and Chris Bay. That's BEY, not BAE for the single ladies out there. Yeah, I know. And then but that popped no one watch. I guarantee you everyone else is gonna be like, what did he say? But you can follow me on those social medias. My Facebook is full, so don't try to friend me. Maybe I'll make a fan page soon. You can follow me on YouTube. Just type in Chris Bay, and whichever one that you see that has the 400 something videos and the 4,000 subscribers with all my authentic videos on there, because there's videos dating back to 2008, so you can't miss the channel. That is my real channel, and subscribe to me there, and hit me up. I'm on all these platforms, and I'm always posting content. I'm not hard to reach at all. So definitely appreciate y'all for checking out the podcast. And make sure y'all subscribe to my boy and follow my boy over here, because, you know, he's working hard over here building this brand. And we got to support people. That's what this is all about. That's how we always won in this world.
All right, man. Thank you so much. This was awesome. Thank you everyone for listening. This is the ARWP podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.